Good morning. So you've heard the story. You've seen the cartoon. It's a nice depiction. So I won't read that again to you. Hopefully you were paying attention, not just the kids. Okay. But today's theme is Wrestle with God, and the theme has a lot to do with our relationship with God. Personally, I don't find myself wrestling with God or questioning God or fighting with God. But it's not that I don't have questions or problems, and I'm not saying I've never prayed hard to God, but that's just a part of my personality. I have no problem believing that God is our heavenly creator, but I also believe in science. Some people struggle with that. I have no problem with dinosaurs not being mentioned in Genesis, but I believe they existed. I believe that there was a Garden of Eden, and at some point in our lives, we will return. And it's either when we create Zion here on earth or waiting for us in the afterlife. Are there things I'm troubled by? Certainly. I'm troubled by social injustice and the political system as a whole, and I'm very troubled by the printer upstairs. You can laugh. I fight a lot with technology. But I consider these problems made by people, requiring us to find solutions. And it doesn't mean God isn't with us or that God doesn't care. Likewise, I would argue having a fight with God can be healthy because it demonstrates your path and passion and your faith. So the question is, why would Jacob be wrestling with God? So I'll tell you a little bit more of the backstory. So yes, Jacob is returning home and to his older brother Esau, and they are twins. But Esau was born just moments before Jacob, and it's written that Jacob was born holding the heel of his brother Esau. So that rivalry, that sibling rivalry has already started from birth. And they are opposites in every way. Esau is hairy and likes to hunt, and Jacob has smooth skin and likes to stay around the tents, as they say in the Bible. Esau is likely physically stronger and a very manly man. And Jacob likes to stay home and read books. He learns to cook, and I expect he is smarter and definitely more cunning. And it's also written that their father Isaac loves Esau, but it's the mother that loves Jacob. Classic sibling rivalry, right there from the start. Just a great setup. But Esau is the oldest brother, and he was due the inheritance of his father Isaac, and that was his birthright until Jacob took advantage of him in a moment of desperation and hunger. Esau sells his birthright to Jacob for some food. And then, of course, Jacob also stole Esau's blessing from his father. He tricked him. So what does that mean, this birthright and this blessing? You have to go back to Isaac. He's the son of Abraham. And you all remember Abraham? He was very faithful to God. He called him, and he told him, leave your home in Ur and go to a new land called Canaan. And Abraham showed great faith and trust in God. And there was a covenant. God promised that Abraham would be the father of many nations and that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars. Kids, how many stars are in the sky? How many stars are in the sky? Go. Lots. There's not as many kids to pick on today. And then there's the test of faith. God asked Abraham to offer his son Isaac as a sacrifice, but stopped him at the last moment because Abraham trusted God completely. So God grants Isaac a similar blessing because of the faithfulness of Abraham. You will be the father of nations. So Isaac is planning on giving this blessing to his firstborn Esau, but he's tricked by Jacob. And his mother has something to do with that too, which is interesting. Maybe there's another story in there, I don't know. This blessing, of course, is not trivial. It is for prosperity, it is for wealth. and lordship over many nations. As part of the blessing, he is told to go away and find a wife and start a family. And he's gone for 20 years. He becomes very rich, and he's got lots of animals and wives and lots of children, and now he's going home. As you learned in the story, Esau's coming to find him, and he's got 400 men. And I didn't mention this earlier. When Esau finds out that Jacob is his father's blessing, he vows to kill him. So 20 years later, and possibly one angry brother with 400 men has Jacob a little bit worried. And I think of myself, I think I might have lose a little bit of sleep that night as well. So how many of you have fought with your brothers or sisters? And that's big kids and little kids. It's a real thing. And I remember going back to when I was young, 4 or 5 years old, and I would always get into fights with my brother. He was 2 years older. We would play a game, any game. Could be trouble, it could be war with cards. It could be any game. And it would end with me saying, "You cheated." And my memory says I would launch myself at my brother and start fighting. And of course, he was 2 years older, so he would always just pin me to the ground, and the fight didn't last very long. But the thing is, he was the older brother, and I was the baby of the family, so he always got into more trouble. It's like, I don't know how to feel about that nowadays. But I think what happened was that I was laying down the basis for our relationship throughout our teen years. So whatever he liked, I instantly disliked. We became opposites. Now the good news is that, we got older, we moved out of the house, and we became closer, and now we're good now. So nobody has to worry about that. And, fast forward from my childhood to maybe, 30 years ago when my son is born, and 5 years later we're playing games with my son. And of course, as a parent, you let your son win every now and then, or most of the time, and every now and then, what do? You have to win, because I can't possibly lose anymore. And what does my son say to me? "You cheated." And I'm sure I heard it from Ashley too. "You cheated." And that was a shocker. And that was my aha moment. I learned all those years ago, it was me. I was the problem. I caused all the fights. Now, my brother has had children too, and by the time I came to this realization, and I told him about it, he was like, "That's okay. We're good." But the aha moment was real. Now, what does Jacob do after learning his brother's coming and with what sounds like an army? Maybe he has that aha moment himself. Maybe he realizes he wasn't the best brother. What does he do? He gets down on his knees and he prays to God and he says, "I am unworthy of all your kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. Honestly, though, I am afraid of my brother that he will attack me and my family." And then he reminds God of the covenant given to Abraham and passed to him. Jacob doesn't sleep well that night, and can you blame him? Jacob wrestles with someone who can only be God, but that wrestling match ends in a draw. Jacob is able to get another blessing from God, but God gets one last shot in, touches his hip and gives him a limp for the rest of his life and says, "You're always going to remember me because you'll always have that limp. Don't forget me." In the end, Jacob is bowing down to his brother, and he's all these gifts prepared. He's got riches, and his family, he's going to offer his family to serve Esau. And Esau is not looking for revenge. This is in Genesis 33, verse 4. But Esau ran to meet Jacob and embraced him. He threw his arms around his neck and kissed him, and they wept. The brothers are reunited. Missy used a good word. They are reconciled. It means they got back together, kids. You're not listening. That's okay. I'll get you when you're older. Jacob wrestles with God. God should have won easily, right? It sounds like a big brother trying to teach a lesson. And what was that lesson God was trying to teach? Your fight is not with me. Go figure things out with Esau. And the question is this: did Jacob need that additional blessing, or should he have just trusted God in the first place? I do have a little bit of homework for you. The companion gospel to this reading is Matthew chapter 13. It is the classic story of the miracle of the loaves and fishes. Because the way to truly understand the Bible and the message Jesus has for us is to study the Old Testament and compare it to what Jesus taught. So Matthew 13 is that companion reading to this reading for this week. So read it and think about what they have in common. Because the lessons that the disciples learn, the boys, as my old pastor at North used to call them, is a lesson we should all learn. So that's your homework. And just let me close with this. Is it okay to wrestle with God? Is it okay to ask those questions to God? Is it okay to fight with God? And the answer is yes. That's part of a relationship that we have with God. Sometimes you just got to clear the air, and that's healthy. You have to get the emotions out of the way so that you can focus on solutions. And maybe that will give you your aha moment. I don't have all the answers, and I don't pretend to. God doesn't offer a life free of pain or suffering, but he says, follow me, and life will be better. Be a better person for yourself and for the people around you. The faith we have in God, the trust we have in God, is that with more love in the world, we can get through this together. This has not been an easy week, but I can also tell you I've not seen this much love and compassion shared together in quite a long time. This week has been hard, but it has been also a blessing. This week has been a testament to faith and love and trust in each other based on the love and trust and faith in our God.